Thank you. Oh, wait, we still on for tonight? Arby's? All right. Hey, you paying, though.
Nope.
No, seriously, you're paying, though.
A good one, bro. No, I'm not.
No, I'm not paying, dude. I don't have any money. Seriously. I paid last time and the time before that. You're paying this time. We're going to keep going to Arby's. You're paying.
Paying,
bro. All right, fine. I'll pay. Okay, but you drive us there?
Yeah, man. You can drive us there in your car.
Dude, come on. I can't drive us there. Okay, at least gas money.
Use the Arby's money for gas money.
Okay. I'm not doing sorry. With the Lions' first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select... Hey, are you sure this is the right one? For real? All right. The Detroit Lions select an offensive lineman. What?
No, I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, you know, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Offensive lineman with the Lions' first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft? Probably not. That's probably not going to happen. At least that's not the bandwagon that I'm on. I'm not on that bus hoping that the Lions take an offensive lineman with their first pick in this draft. However, I never think it's a bad thing to know what options are out there, what possibilities are out there. And even if we talk about some guys in this video, some of these guys may not be first-round picks. Some may fall to day 2, and potentially the Lions could be looking for an offensive lineman there. Personally, you guys have seen my mock off seasons. You've seen my mock drafts. I'm looking for offensive linemen later in the draft, UDFAs that could develop. I'm more confident what we have at the offensive line as long as they can stay healthy. And I'm projecting that Big V moves to right guard and Terrell Cosmi starts at right tackle next season. Hopefully Logan Stenberg can take over that role. But there are some definite questions. I mean, Logan Stenberg, we haven't got to see him play a snap for the Detroit Lions, so you know, the Lions don't have any film to look at aside from what he did at Kentucky. Plus, they didn't draft him. I mean, maybe Brad Holmes has a little bit of a feel on Logan Stenberg from the draft process because he always fouled the draft with the Rams. But aside from that, I mean, there's a big question mark for Logan Stenberg and what he's going to be next season. But you know he's probably grinding in the offseason to take over that role. And then you look at Big V. Big V was weird last season because he couldn't consistently find the field. He had so many foot injuries that he was on and off, on and off, on and off. 2 games. I counted 2 games where this guy played through half and then didn't come out in the second half. And we'd have to go with another option. And also, when he was healthy, you thought this guy bounced around playing different positions, and because of that, we never found a consistent spot, which isn't really a good thing for a guy that you're trying to find a consistent spot for, but unfortunately, we just couldn't find it for Big V last season. We know the versatility is there, but it would be nice to find a spot for him, and I think that will be at right guard next season. I believe it will be at right guard. It could be at right tackle. I don't know. I'm just hoping they find a spot for him. So again, while I don't believe the Lions will take an offensive lineman in the first round, and while I wouldn't take an offensive lineman with the first pick in my draft, I never think it's a bad thing to know what's possible, you know, what could happen. So that's what we're talking about in today's video. I put out this poll that asked if you guys want to see that against another video, and you guys voted like crazy for this one. So I was like, okay, let's do it. I mean, hey, you guys seem interested in it, so why not? Let's talk about it. So let's talk about some options if the Lions wanted to do this. Now, there really is, I think, only one option if the Lions wanted to stay at number 7 and take an offensive lineman, and that's why I keep stressing their first pick in the draft, not necessarily the 7th pick. If we're going offensive lineman first round, I think it's more of a trade back scenario. Lions move back, they take an offensive lineman that they want then, and they acquire more picks. Maybe an offensive lineman that they really like that fell to them in their lap, and they're like, hey, we can't pass up on this, because they told us today they didn't want to have to reach for positions. They wanted to take basically who the best available was, and that way they could jumpstart however they're looking to build. So if that happened, then maybe they do it. But if it was at number 7, there's really only one guy that I think that would legitimately be an option for the Lions, and that's PENEI Sewell. Now, I don't think PENEI Sewell falls out of the top 5. I think he's either going to the Bengals or the Jets, either way, or the Dolphins. Regardless, I don't see him falling out of the top 5. I think he stays inside the top 5. But if somehow, some way, PENEI Sewell fell out of the top 5 and fell to number 7, would the Lions consider taking him? Now, the biggest question for PENEI Sewell won't be what he can do on the field. It's where can we put him on the field. See, with Oregon, he played the blind spot. He played that left tackle position. And in high school, he played guard, but he didn't play right tackle, which means that if he was a Detroit Lion, you would have to figure out where are you putting him on the field. Are you moving Taylor Decker, who was a left tackle, who played his best season last season after getting paid a lot of money? You probably don't want to move Taylor Decker, right? Now, he did play left tackle back early in college, but you probably don't want to move him. Or are you moving the guy that you just drafted in the top 10? Are you changing his position already? I mean, it's something that you'll definitely have to discuss if you're going to look to draft a guy like this, if somehow, some way the scenario came up where he actually did fall. So that would be the biggest question, is finding the position for him. Are you trying to move him to guard? Last time we saw a guard taking this, I think, is Quentin Nelson, but he's a tackle move to guard, so it's a little bit different. Are you going to try to move him to right tackle, which is possible? I mean, I feel like he could probably play that role. I think he's better as a tackle, but as a player specifically, from what we've seen, the biggest issue for him is a lack of film. We just haven't got to see a lot. He hasn't played in that many games, and he didn't play last season. He opted out. So there are some questions about how much we've got to see of him against top pass rushing competition. But in the offense that he also played with Oregon, we saw him play in a lot of screen sets. So because of that, we didn't see him in a lot of true one-on-ones. It was an interesting offense that he was a part of. But simply what we did get to see on tape was that he was phenomenal. The numbers will tell you that, and the film will also tell you that he's a really good offensive tackle. While I don't know if he's the best in the last decade or something like that, which people say, he does seem really good. I personally have him as my #1 offensive tackle right now. I mean, that's for all positions, not for the Lions, just offensive tackle in general. He's very athletic to the point where he can keep up with pass rushers. He can mirror pass rushers off the edge, which means he's not going to be blown off the snap and beat into the backfield. Again, he hasn't win against the top pass rushers, so that is a question. But he is athletic enough to do that. And also, he's strong enough where he's not going to get bull rushed on the play. He has a really good blend of both as an offensive lineman.
To be honest, 325 pounds is pretty darn big for an offensive tackle. So his ability to keep up with speed rushers is, I think, what really impresses people, and how fast that he can get off the line of scrimmage and beat his guy in a zone running scheme.
Also, because he's in such a screen heavy offense, you have seen him have to block upfield, block it to the second level, and he's athletic enough to do that, to figure out where his man is, to get his hands on someone, and usually pancake them. It's also impressive that they said, hey, we're taking you from guard and moving you to left tackle to protect the blind spot, which is arguably the most important position for an offensive lineman. That's why they get paid so much, and that's why we paid, say, Taylor Decker so much to play that role, and we're happy he played so well in that role last season. There are some minor tweaks that you could have to his game in terms of hand placement. That's something that he can improve upon, or something that you're hoping that he worked on because he didn't play this past season, so it's something that he could definitely improve upon. Also, you would like to see him maybe finish off plays more often, on the offense line against some of the defensive ends and pass rushers that he goes against, but for the most part, he does give you a lot, and you expect that this guy is going to come in and be a day one starter, no matter where you put him on the field. Just the biggest question here would be, where does he play for the Detroit Lions? But again, if somehow he fell to 7, that'd be your option, but I don't think he falls to 7. So let's talk about some other options that I think are more legit options for the Detroit Lions if this for some reason is the route they wanted to go. The first guy I have on here, actually the second because we already talked about PENEI Sewell, is ALIJAH VERA-TUCKER. Now, I really like this ALIJAH VERA-TUCKER guy. I really do. USC is 6'4", 315 pounds. And I really started watching a lot of him today, watched multiple games, and I was just blown away by the mentality that he brings to the game. Also, the versatility does help because the Lions wanted to draft him. He's coming off a season where he played tackle because he replaced Austin Jackson. I think this is impressive. So Austin Jackson went to the draft and he said, look, I'm going to play the tackle position and show that I can play tackle because I was playing guard in the past. He stepped in and did that, and he played tackle at a super high level. So it's kind of impressive to see that he could go from guard to tackle so seamlessly and play at a very high level. I mean, he wasn't the best, but he played at a high level. Also, the fact that he played guard in 2019 and 18, both the right guard and left guard position, more left guard, but he's played both guard positions, tells you that there's versatility there. Plus, his mentality, again, that's what speaks to me the most, is the way that he plays. The way that he plays with this, the mauler mentality, the tenacity to just get after it. I mean, he's fighting off defensive players down the field. And if there's one thing about Bob Quinn that you have to say as a drafter, is that he seemed pretty solid at drafting offensive linemen. He brought us Graham Glasgow in the 3rd. He brought us Jonah Jackson. Logan is to be determined. We'll see how that turns out. He did bring in Frank Ragnow. He brought in Taylor Decker. I mean, he found a way to get pretty good offensive linemen, I will say that. Maybe he didn't make always the best decisions, but he brought in good offensive linemen. And his philosophy was, hey, we want guys that get after it. We want those maulers. And that's what he's drafted. And I see that with ALIJAH VERA-TUCKER. While I don't think he's maybe the strongest, and I think he could add more power, if you want just simply a physically dominant offensive lineman, then maybe this isn't the option. ALIJAH has a really good feel for what's going on. He seems very aware of his surroundings and where he needs to be. And I think that's partly because he's played right guard to start, then he moved to left guard, and then he moved to left tackle, and he showed you could do all of it. So you're confident when you put him out there that he's going to be aware of what's going on. He's not going to put himself in bad spots. Now, I do think he's a better guard to the next level. And I think that's why a lot of teams that are mock drafting him are drafting him as a guard, that need a guard, because I think he has the versatility to play tackle when you need it. Maybe you try to draft him to be a tackle, but I'd rather draft him to be, honestly, a guard. I saw not the best athleticism. I don't see the most length here with ALIJAH VERA-TUCKER. So I think just that on its own makes you think, okay, better guard. And we know that he can play both positions, though. So if there are injuries, he bummed the tackle. Versatility is key. He did struggle against Oregon, I will say. I saw that game. He did struggle against Oregon. There will be some questions there, but at that time, he was playing at the tackle position. But it's consistent. He's aware. He knows what's going on. He has a really good feel for what's going on. And he just seems like a really reliable piece that can step in day one, has some upside. Maybe not the most athletic player out there, but I just love the motor. The motor is always running with this guy. He never runs out of gas. You know what I'm saying? You know what? To stop for that premium, he's always got it, man. He's got his own, little, generator on his back. This has gotten strange. There are some concerns. I have seen him lose ground in pass protection because of simply power at times. I think that was mainly versus Oregon where he seemed to struggle. That was really the only game that he really struggled, is Oregon a little bit. I don't think he was bad. He just struggled a little bit. Competition was a little questionable because he didn't go against some of the top pass rushers. Also, his length can be an issue, and he could add more power. I definitely think he could add more power to his game, but I think he adds a lot here. He's projected to be a mid, pick. So if the Lions traded back and this guy fell and they're like, hey, let's do it, we want to go offensive lineman, VERA-TUCKER, I think, is a very legitimate option because of his athleticism, allows him to be versatile, to put him at guard or tackle, whichever one you want to do, because he's shown you that he can do both. I believe he could play the right tackle spots. I know that he could play the guard spots. So for the Lions here, this is a really nice player that I think fits the mentality and the mold that you're looking for an offensive lineman. I like ALIJAH VERA-TUCKER. I was sold on ALIJAH VERA-TUCKER very quickly after watching his film. It didn't take me long to say, hey, I like the way that this guy plays. Rashawn Slater opted out last season. I wish we could have seen Rashawn Slater play. Rashawn Slater has shown us the versatility to play both right tackle and left tackle. Right tackle in 2018 and left tackle in 2019, with the potential, some people argue, to bump to guard. There's some really good versatile offensive linemen early in this draft, but it's really the athleticism that he brings that they are kind of sold upon, because he's so athletic, and some of that has to do a little bit with his size, but he's so athletic that he could play to the next level seamlessly. I mean, he could go out there, he could pick up linebackers, he meets them in their tracks. What I love about his athleticism is how quickly he can get off. So you have those zone running plays, you have to beat the defensive player across from you, right? He's able to do that. He's able to step over there so quickly off the snap and meet his guy in his tracks, which is impressive. Also, if you watch how he played against Chase Young, he held his own at that left tackle position in 2019. We know Chase Young was, a pretty high draft pick, number 2 to the Washington football team. All right, so he held his own against Chase Young, which was impressive. And it's that foot speed that also impresses you with the versatility and his quickness off the snap. You wish he was a little bit more powerful, which some people believe that he could bounce the guard, but you would like to see him be a little more powerful. Again, add some strength potentially here, maybe add a little bit of weight to that, maybe some more heavy hands on that first strike, because if the initial strike isn't going to back up a defensive player, usually he's not backing up a defensive lineman right off his first strike, but his quickness allows him to be versatile and also, keep up with speed rushers, mere speed rushers. This guy in space, he's just tremendous, and his footwork is just off the charts. I mean, he's just so quick with it, and that's the best thing for me. It's off the snap, and it's also in space that he can be very effective. Just doesn't bring that kind of strength that you wish that he would bring, and he doesn't really have the optimal size for an offensive tackle, which makes some people believe that he could bump down to guard. I think he could add some power if you wanted to do that, but there is versatility here. He's played the tackle positions. He's played right tackle, which he could be for the Lions if they wanted to draft him. That's where I think that he would fit, and he gives you enough athletic ability that as a pass protection, he can mirror a pass rusher, and in the run game, he's good enough to be a solid run blocker. So, yeah, I think he could get a little stronger, but I think there's some versatility here, and Rashawn Slater did some good things against some really good competition. Hopefully, he gets even stronger when he comes back after missing 2020. Next player I had to talk about here is Wyatt Davis. Now, initially, I wasn't that sold on Wyatt Davis personally, because Wyatt Davis, I watched him against Penn State, and I think he really did struggle. I thought Wyatt Davis struggled. At 6'4", 315 for Ohio State University, I thought he struggled a little bit. I wasn't sold. I was like, okay, he looks all right, but he's not really the guy getting he's not really the guy forcing pancake. He's actually the guy getting pancaked. He holds up in his one-on-ones, but he didn't seem dominant as a run blocker. However, when you watch him a little bit more and more, you can see why he's so highly touted. First off, for the Lions, this will be great because, well, he'd be across from Jonah Jackson, assuming that he started at the right guard position, which is what he played last season, which could be the hole for the Lions that they need to fill. So you could have Jonah Jackson and Wyatt Davis on the same offensive line, which would be pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. Get him in a one-on-one situation as a pass protector, he's really good. His hand usage is phenomenal. I mean, he's got the great hand strikes as offensive lineman. really, you don't see many guys going by him with their pass rush moves. He kind of just negates that, and he's really solid as a pass protector. Why do you see the 3 sacks allowed? Because as a pass protector, he does get lost in terms of picking up on stunts, picking up on things like that. I think it's the mental side of the game that needs improvement for Wyatt Davis personally, but what he can do with his hands and what he showed that he could do as a right guard makes him one of the best right guards in this class.
He's really big for a guard. I mean, to put in perspective his size, he's about 30 pounds heavier than Jonah Jackson, who's the other guard.
And I know that he could pass protect, and I feel like that he could start day one. He could plug in and play. But I still don't see him as a bully, as a run blocker, but I do see him as a good run blocker that can take a defense lineman and push him out of the play. Push him to where the play needs to go. If you need to take your defense lineman and push him to the right side, that way it opens up whatever side of the field and opens up a hole, he can do that. He can latch on and push him out of the play, which is very, very impressive. Blocking in space could use some improvement. Picking up on stunts, assignments, things like that needs work. And again, I think he wasn't the best against Penn State. I think it was a down game. Draft websites will tell you that, oh, he's just bully as an offensive lineman. I didn't really see that. I see him, against Penn State, I guess just struggling a little bit. I didn't see him as a bully, as an offensive lineman, but he does do a really good job of pushing he's still a really good run defender that can take his defense lineman and put him where he needs to be based on where the play needs to go. Also in one-on-ones, he's very good as a pass protector. He uses his hands super, super well, and he's very reliable with really nice balance there. Honestly, even though I'm not an Ohio State fan, I could get down with having Jonah Jackson as one of my guards and having a guy like Wyatt Davis as my other guard who's kind of plug in and play, who just came off playing that right guard position for Ohio State. I could rock with that. I could rock with that interior offensive lineman, and you could be very comfortable with that offensive line going forward with knowing that you have those 2 young guys locked up on those cheap young rookie deals, and that would be pretty cool. I mean, I got to be honest, it'd be pretty cool. And that brings us to our next player with this Christian Darrisaw. I don't really love what he brings as, that mean streak. He doesn't really seem to have that to me. At 6'5", 314 pounds coming out of Virginia Tech, I just don't see that in his game. I don't. That's the biggest thing. He doesn't seem like a guy that's going to finish off the play and run over somebody and just put him into the ground, which I absolutely love for my linemen. But he is a tackle, and he played the left tackle position, but I see enough skills and I see enough potential here for him to go from left tackle and bounce over to right tackle and be successful, even though he hasn't done that. I've seen a few snaps where they pushed him to right tackle when they've needed to, but other than that, really hasn't played the right tackle position. However, I think that he could do it and switch there at the next level, because in pass protection, he's very clean. He's very aware of what's going on. I mean, he can switch off a stunt like it's nothing. I mean, he could take on a guy, recognize the stunt, and go right to this new player very clean, and I think that would allow him to have a day 1 impact right away. He blocks into the second level well. As a run blocker, he's a good run blocker, and statistically, you'll like it. 0 hits and 0 sacks given up in 2020. He does not get bull rushed and does not get pushed back. It's again figuring out, can you move him to the right offensive line position for your team? But if you're acquiring picks and picking up Christian Darrisaw, I think if you can move him the right tackle, you talk to him, and you believe that you can push this guy to right tackle, which I personally do just from what I've seen, and I know he's played in a very run-heavy offense, which will scare some people at Virginia Tech because he played with Khalil Herbert, and he played with a dual threat quarterback. Some teams won't love that. I think we're going to it's going to be a team that runs the ball a lot. I think that's going to be something that we do with this offense. So I wouldn't have a problem with a guy that played in a run-heavy offense. I do notice that he opens his hips pretty quickly, and that can allow, him to get beat by some pass rushers, that have really good bend. So that's something I think needs to improve upon. Also, again, I don't love how he finishes off plays. I don't see that that tenacity about his game. I just don't see it. He'll stop on the play a little bit too early, but I definitely like what he gives you just as a player overall. I mean, he blocks well on screens. He can go block down the field. He took a gigantic jump, and in 2020, every single week, guy was consistently great. He was consistently great. That just seems like a guy that's plug in and play at tackle for left tackle, and I think he could bump to right tackle. I see that. If not, maybe pass on him. I think that he could, though, and that's Christian Darrisaw. And I really like Christian Darrisaw. It's just I just don't see that meanness about his game. And also, since he hasn't played right tackle, I don't know if he's the perfect fit for the Lions. But I know in Madden I can switch him right tackle. So if this is Madden, he's perfect for me. And that moves us on to Samuel COSMI. 6'7", 309 pounds. He has played both the right tackle and left tackle position in his career, which is very promising. Also, he's played in a pass-heavy offense, so a little bit different here, which could be good, could be bad. But you have seen him in a lot of one-on-ones. You've seen him take on the challenge, and he can mirror those quick pass rushers so well. I mean, he mirrors pass rushers so well. You see him kind of just so reactionary and so fluid with it. He's a really nice athlete for being 6'7", but that can come with some downsides. In the second level, I see him struggle with staying connected. I also see him can be a little bit slow off the snap. He can be late to his back pedal. It can be an issue against some of those speedy rushers, and I think he could add a little bit more power, especially if he's trying to go to guard. I think he would be my right tackle at the next level, unless, you know, you want to take a guy like Taylor Decker and move him, which I don't think you want to do. Now, because of his height, that can be an issue. He could lose leverage being 6'7", but he does show that he can adapt to that pretty well. So he has the really nice height, which is really cool to have that big of a guy. I don't think he's the perfect fit for the Lions, but he has shown me that in pass protection he can be really good. I think he could improve possibly as a run blocker, add some more power. I mean, that a guy that we just talked about, Christian DARRISAW, who's playing in more of a run-heavy offense, could be the better fit as long as he can go to right tackle. But since he's had experience at right tackle, and if you're looking for more of a pass protector, I know that he can give you that. So if you're looking for a pass protector that we can put Big V at right guard, I know he gives you that as a tackle. So that's pretty cool. Then we have TEVEN Jenkins. Now, TEVEN Jenkins comes out of Oklahoma State. And TEVEN Jenkins at 6'6", 310. Again, really big guy here. He's known for his run blocking. He finishes off plays. I see this guy always on time. Hey, pause on that. But this guy will pancake guys completely at the right tackle position. And again, he's a right tackle. So boom, you plug in and play a right tackle for us. He's got a ton of experience, played in a lot of games, started in a lot of games. He could throw off pass rushers because he's really strong at that point of contact. It's like boom, and he's like, wow, I just got hit by an absolute brick wall. Played at both tackle spots while also playing at the right guard position early. So there's versatility here. There's just a couple things that he lacks. First off, he's not the great athlete. He's not a great athlete. He was asked to block in space on screens, and he looked okay there. He's just not the best athlete, which means that speed rushers can be an issue, which means that he might be better at guard at the next level. But if you want to tackle, that's something that needs to improve. He also had a lower back injury, which caused him to kind of stop the 2020 season early to focus on the draft. I don't expect that to be a problem, but if it is, it's something to definitely worry about in his range. I think he might be better as a guard, going back to the guard at the next level, but his range can be a little bit of an issue. However, if you want him for right tackle, he finishes well. He brings the mentality that I think you need. He is 23 years old, so he's a little bit older for an offensive lineman or for any draft prospect, but he is a guy that I think you should keep an eye on, and this is like a late first-round pick, potentially a guy that falls into the second round, maybe even third round somehow, and then you could be looking at him there if the Lions wanted to go high offensive lineman. And that brings us to Jalen Mayfield. Now, Jalen Mayfield, coming out of Michigan, is another player that at 6'5", 320 pounds, I think could bump to guard if you need him to. Now, he hasn't shown you that, but I think he can just based on his skill set. What's great about Jalen Mayfield is he's went against pretty much as much competition as you could possibly ask for. This guy has went against just absolute studs. Anthony Jennings, Shaka Toney, Chase Young. I mean, he's went against studs. So his time has been, okay, throw him into the fire and let him compete. While he has got beat at times, he's went against some really good players and held his own. You know, he's battle tested. The issue is here, he hasn't played that many snaps. He's only started in 15 games. And I can't see him overshoot against speed rushers, which gets him out of position, and he can lose his balance. He'll slip. He also does whiff because he'll overextend, again, like I said, trying to keep up with some of those speed rushers. So I think he's better at guard. I think he bounces. I think he could bounce to guard at the next level, but also because he can play the tackle position, he could be a fit for Lions. He plays the way you like it. He finishes plays with a pancake. He'll play hard. He'll play through the whistle. He does push ahead to the next level, which is great. And like I said, he's definitely battle tested, and he's really good in zone rushing schemes, and he can completely push his player out of the play. So there's a lot to like about him. It's just really the fact that he doesn't have a lot on tape. He may not be the perfect fit at tackle for you, and against speed rushers, he can have some issues, but if you could bump him in the guard, I think Jalen Mayfield has a great size out of Michigan. That still needs improvement, but he definitely is going to be ready to take on some of that NFL talent right away. And finally, let's talk about one more guy, shall we? Let's talk about Alex Leatherwood. Alex Leatherwood's been getting a lot of hype. I don't know, people love this dude for some reason.
I shouldn't act surprised. I mean, the guy's literally built like a tree, and I'm not kidding. Like, if you built a offensive lineman on Madden, you would build Alex Leatherwood. I mean, he has monster arms. The guy has like tree limbs for arms, I guess. I don't know what that means because tree limbs are usually skinny, but he's got big arms, great size throughout his entire body. I mean, he can be dominant because of that, and we know he's winning against really good competition, so he should be battle tested.
Alex Leatherwood out of Bama, 6'6", 312. Okay, here's the thing. He's a really big guy. I don't think he's the best athlete, but he's got really good arms. He's got really nice length there, and it really helps him against speed rushers, and sometimes you will see him kind of just be able to just reach out and kind of grab a guy and kind of wall him off, but he does need some work. He's not the best athlete. He can definitely be burnt by some speed rushers.
But I have noticed that because of that lack of athleticism and ability to block at the second level, his arm length comes into play so much because he's so strong with his arms that if he gets beat by a pass rusher, sometimes he can literally just reach out, put his arm in the way, and the guy can't get by. He can basically clothesline the defensive lineman. So his length is something that he definitely relies upon as he continues to develop.
That could be a very big issue for him at the next level, but he has won against the best competition. He needs to show that if he can bump to the right tackle for the Lions, that'll be the issue, is that if he can bump to that spot for the Lions and play there at a high level. But you do like the length, you like the size that he gives. He just isn't the best athlete. Not sure if bumping to guard is in his future, so that's why I have him so low. But if he falls to like day 2, then maybe the Lions could be interested if they want something like this and they think that because of the competition he's won against, he'll be ready to go and he could play that tackle position. I just think there's work that's needed here. But again, kind of like Mayfield, he's battle tested, and I think that that's really nice. And he does have that length that some of the tackles honestly have issues with in this, like TEVEN Jenkins, guys like that. So, that's the difference that he brings. So there's definitely some offensive linemen, if the Lions want to look early, that they could go after with a lot of versatility, guys that could go guard or could play tackle for them. I just want to go off for some names here. Again, I'm not pushing for the Lions to do this. I think they have a solid offensive lineman. I'm a big believer in what Big V can be, and I think they just need a better running back. I think they just need a better playmaker in the backfield to pair with DeAndre Swift, because I saw what Swift could do about an offensive line. I got videos on all this. But again, if the Lions surprised us and they went offensive line super early, then here's some options that I think they could look at. However, we'll probably have a video for another day, because we got a lot of time until the draft, to talk about some prospects that I would possibly consider later in the draft. Those kind of guys, And I think you'd also mention Trey Smith, but unfortunately Trey Smith has had some off the field, concerns with blood clots, which you just absolutely hate to hear. But I love that he's been a fighter and he's pushed through it. He's got a lot of size, but almost a little bit too size. He can kind of overextend. He can get himself out of position on a whack. But we'll talk about him for another day. Let me know your thoughts, guys, below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.